Well, here we are, ending 2014, going into 2015, and it's that time of reflection, that time of dreaming about the next year. We move into it with enthusiasm, right? What happens this time of year? People, at least hopefully, get together with their teams, their mates and friends and whomever, and they make plans. They reflect about 2014. They look at how the year went. But the big deal is, wow, there's a new year in front of us, and that conjures up these feelings and these images of all kinds of possibilities. And it should. I mean, that's a good thing. The problem is, and I've seen this over and over again, and I've experienced it myself, and I'm sure you have too, is that you start off the year with great ambitions and great visions, but as the year progresses, somehow there's something that pulls you back to old patterns, old behaviors, and old outcomes, and at best we're getting incremental results. So what do I want this video to be about? I want it to be about 10xing 2015. I believe there's a couple of fundamental understandings that I want to talk to you about here, and it won't take very long, that can absolutely transform what the outcomes will be for you in 2015. So I'm excited to share this with you. Now, 2 years ago, I made a video similar to this going into 2013, and it was called the Clean Slate. And in it, I described in 6 minutes, under 6 minutes actually, this Clean Slate process. I got extraordinary responses from this. It went sort of viral. 3,000 people or more watched that video. And people were saying, wow, that was really good. And they got a lot out of it. And it was about just fundamentally saying, you know, clean the slate. Getting ahead in life is more about what you're willing to let go of than it is about what you need to do. And as long as you're holding on to stuff, and mostly that stuff you're holding on to, it's unwittingly. It's not like you're consciously saying, I want to hold on to this. It's an unrecognized behavior and a predilection towards keeping things in your life or holding things in your thinking that prevent you from really going out after bigger things that weighs you down. So it was about cleaning the slate, letting go to rise, and those types of things. And in the email that I sent you, I put a link to that video so you could review it rather than me having to review the whole thing here. Again, it's under 6 minutes, and I believe it will have a major impact on you, and it will give you some, I think, different types of orientations towards what you can do to improve 2015 on a maximal level. So watch that video if you haven't already as a prelude to what we're going to discuss here, because what I want to do in this video is go a level deeper and maybe go a level more fundamental than the clean slate process. Because what do you need to incorporate into your behaviors to create the clean slate to give you better and bigger, awesome possibilities for 2015? And as you notice, I'm not sitting here jumping up and down, hyping you up and trying to pump you up and do all that kind of stuff. I'm just having a simple conversation here, but it's all about what's in your mind. It's all about how to organize your thinking, and what is outside of you and what your outcomes are a direct reflection of what's in here. And unfortunately for most people, what's in here is not known to them, or at least the majority of it, especially the things that prevent the outcomes that create disappointment on an ongoing basis. None of this stuff is easy to do. It's simple to understand, I think you'll see, but it's not necessarily easy to do. But if you have some level of commitment and you're really dedicated to a stronger vision and a bigger purpose in 2015, I believe what I'll talk to you about here will have a major impact. What I'm talking about is unleashing the power of your philosophy. If you create a clean slate, now the question is, okay, the slate is clean as per the video, and we went through that already in the last video that I just told you about. But now the question is, what do you put on that slate? You can't just leave it blank, otherwise you're a blank. The question is, you clean the slate, now you have to repopulate it with something that's empowering, something that is motivating, something that is going to create better outcomes and better results, and not just in your practice, which is important. Obviously, in your career, whatever you're doing in your life, it's important that you succeed on a higher level there. But what about your relationships, your love relationships, your parenting, your health and fitness, and all these other things that on the surface may seem disrelated, but underneath they all have this common thing driving them, and this common thing is called your philosophy. So what I want to encourage you to do is to embrace the power of premise. I want you to understand what it is that drives you in all the important categories of your life. I want you to get clear on that. Why will this empower you? Why will this create transformation? Well, if you've been following my work over the past year, I released something called the Philosophy Formula. And I'm not here to sell you anything right now, so I'm not trying to say, hey, go sign up for this course. As a matter of fact, it's not available to you right now. But what I want you to understand is this, is that I've seen chiropractors completely transform their practices and their lives by getting into the power of premise, by understanding a simple formula that helps them organize their thinking, that creates congruency in their thinking and actions, and therefore creates bigger outcomes. So unleashing this power philosophy is basically working through sort of a three-step process, which I'm just going to explain very quickly here. The first step is, what do you believe? And when we ask ourselves that question, we could answer it in 1,000 different categories, in 1,000 different ways. It could be very narrowed in what you believe about your career, what you believe about healthcare, what you believe about, let's say, the adjustment, subluxation, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can pop up all these different belief elements, as I described. I'm not talking about wooey things. I'm talking about legitimate belief elements that you possess that are driving your actions and behaviors. And then you ask the next important question is, why do you believe that? Which comes from the second branch of philosophy, epistemology. The first branch is metaphysics, which is your view of the nature of reality. That's premise. What do you believe? The second branch is epistemology. Why do you believe that? What are your rules of evidence? Why are you holding that? Now, why is that important? If you want to clean the slate, sometimes you have to let go of beliefs that have held you in a certain place, that have not allowed you to progress. And when you ask the question, why do I believe that? Sometimes you say, I don't have a good answer to that question, which means maybe I need to question that premise. Maybe I'm holding it for the wrong reasons. Maybe it really doesn't validate with what my rules of evidence are. And then the third question is, so what am I going to do? Once I know what I believe, what my premise is, once I know why I believe that, my rules of evidence, my epistemology, if I use the big word, then the next thing to say is, okay, what am I going to do with all this? So how did these three simple questions applied to varying aspects of your life transform it? How can it 10x your 2015? The answer is very simple. One of my premises, which is maybe the most powerful premise I believe I hold, which comes from the philosopher Ayn Rand, is this. When you have contradictions in your basic philosophical premises, the only possible result is destruction. And the amount of destruction is relative to the level of the contradiction. Through utilizing philosophy formula, we can identify our premises, look for contradictions, resolve them, and that's what helps us break through in our life. So if you can imagine now that you clean the slate, you organize your thinking, and then you remove contradiction and push this whole thing forward, what I know for a fact is that you can absolutely transform your outcomes for 2015 in any aspect of your life that you choose to. Not just your money, not just your career, but any aspect of your life that you choose to. So this could be an overwhelming, all-encompassing thing that you'll just shut off this video and say, well, I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to make it easy for you. Here's what I want you to do. In the 5 most important aspects of your life, whether it be about money, whether it be about, if you're a chiropractor, your patient care, but something related to your career, if it's about your parenting, whatever it is, I'm asking you just to find 5 things. You've cleaned your slate now. Watch the last video to clean that slate. Now I'm asking you to say, where are 5 critical areas of my life, of my career, of things that I want to create outcomes in that I need to work on most, more than anything else? And then ask yourself, what do I believe about this? What's my most important premise? If I looked at you and said, relative to your career, what's your most important premise? Relative to success, what's your most important premise? Relative to your love relationship, what's your most important premise? Relative to your parenting, what's your most important premise? Relative to your healthcare, what's your most important premise? If I ask that question and you sit there stunned saying, I'm not sure, that would be a good thing. Why? Because you have an enormous opportunity now to grow. It wouldn't be a good thing to stay that way. It'd be a good thing to identify it. And if you say, I don't know, let me think about that for a little while. I have a premise. And here's why I hold that premise, and here's what I'm going to do based on that. And it's going to be congruent with these other things. 5. I'm asking you to pick 5. Pick 5 premises that you are really wrapped around, that are important to you. Figure out what the premise is, why you believe that premise, why you've drawn that conclusion, and then what you're going to do about it. If you were to clean your slate, find your 5 most important premises, put that together, that will change 2015 for you. And if you do this, which I really hope you do, I want to hear about it, and I want to hear about the outcome. So I'm here just to wish you the very best for 2015. I really hope that what I just talked about you'll take to heart, and I happen to know that if you act upon it, it can transform your life. I hope I added a lot of value for your year, and I look forward to connecting with you throughout the year. Thanks for watching.